So, for instance, if you were standing in front of each other or you were leaning over her, because again, she's kind of small, and you pressed your chest up against hers, that's the amount of love that emanates from
It's my
her.
grandma. Yeah. I know it's her.
So she said definitely when you're, when you get that first idea and you get that poke, she's poking you. That's the answer. As opposed to 2 days later when you're like, I don't even know why I was thinking that.
That
I'm
is
not
so me.
okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
So that's what I have to share. So she just
Oh,
kind of
thank you.
smiled and bowed her head that she
Oh,
wanted
thank
you
you
to.
so much.
Wonder Brook, anything you'd like to add?
I think you did a great job. Let me see what else I might add. And then I'm going to go to Denise Marie next. Um, so I'm getting some strong vibes of Native American energy. And I do feel that you'll have a prominent spirit guide that's going to express themselves as Native American. Um, there's a high concentration of Native Americans that used to live here too, so that makes sense. And definitely connected with the root chakra, grounded energy. That's because you need to have a guide that's very strong in that area, because when you go, you're gonna go. You've got a lot of potential, um,
Mm,
and you're going to be able to channel a lot of energy, but you're going to need to also learn how to stay grounded while you want 2 feet on the ground while you're reaching up to spirit. Okay. Uh, I do see just a tremendous amount of potential there to develop not only mediumship like Angela just demonstrated, but also trance mediumship. So that would be a little time off. Whenever you're developing mediumship, it's always good to develop a healing mediumship with it. So the Reiki will fit right in. I see you being someone who could be inspired greatly by spirit. I happen to know what you do for a living. So, but I do feel that's or articles, and all of a sudden it just why, but it's just flowing. Now, this could have happened while you were in school. So I don't know if you're doing that much writing now in the work field, but there were times when it just kind of flowed. Do you understand that?
I do. And even now that sometimes come to my mind, I'm like, that's such a good idea. Good girl.
That will increase. Okay. I
Wow.
used to, when I was first opening, guys, I was still practicing law and I was a trust attorney. I wrote trust agreements. So those are 52-page documents, more or less.
Yeah.
And then spirit would say, you got a typo. And I'd be like, this is when I got used to hearing their voices, right? And I also am a certified saint, just so you all know. So I'm one of the few mediums that are did that in order to become an adoptive parent. So anyway, um, I'd say, you mind helping me find the typo from 52 pages? How am I going to find a typo? Because, I could have typed PF instead of OF, right? And then all of a sudden they'd have me turn to the right page and I would see it. So they were guiding me. That's going to be for you. All right. Your your instincts, your intuitiveness is going to hone in. Um, I know you're coming for the Reiki already. I just see it. You're going to be able to use it not only spiritually, but also in your capacity as an attorney. So I want to leave that with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, ladies.
You're welcome. Denise. I love Denise. She's a outstanding tarot reader and um astrologer. I've heard her lecture at the Eyes of Learning, Women Ambassador, and I just was mesmerized. So I'm honored that you'd like me to give you a message. Okay. So there's a little lady here, and she's showing me herself like she's 84 years old, more or less. And she just said to me, I want to speak to Denise. And I do feel like this is your grandmother. Would you understand grandma in spirit and being on the shorter side with um, the short hair, probably the curlers, that she would do?
I'm right away what came to my mind was an aunt who was like a grandmother because she was the oldest of all my mother's sisters, and she was about that age.
Okay, so
She
I'm
has the
gonna say
short
fine.
hair and she's very,
So you
yeah.
understand all those pieces except for the relationship. So
Mhm,
uh,
mhm.
let's say that I got that wrong because she felt grandmother, but could definitely be an aunt who was the elder and was treated you like a grandchild. Everything else fit. So, and she was very emphatic. She just walked right in and said, I want to speak to her. She just kind of pushed everybody else out of the way. So, would you remember her as being that pushy? Okay.
Exactly,
Would you remember
exactly.
being scared out of your bejeevers if you were naughty and you thought she caught you?
Oh, she'd always catch her. Yeah,
Yeah, she'd always catch you, and you'd be scared out of your bejeevers, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay. This is the woman I'm talking to right now. And she comes in and she said, It's about time. Do you remember she used to like to use her hands when she was
Yes,
expressing herself to make
yes,
sure she emphasized
yes.
her points? She
Uh-huh.
absolutely loves you. I don't want to make her out as a scary, scary person because as fierce as she was, is as fierce as her love is for you. And I also feel that she'd be the first one in a fight if she saw somebody mistreating you. She'd be flying
Yes.
over to, rescue you.
Mhm.
Okay. So, what she's saying is finally, 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 you tend to be super nice
Mhm.
and you know, I don't want to say you let people walk on you because you don't, but sometimes you don't exert yourself as easily as your great aunt did or your aunt did.
Well, she would curse more than I do.
Okay, no, exert. Not okay.
No,
So
but she would
she used to
also
say,
curse more
finally, you
than
spoke up for yourself
I.
in a
Mhm.
situation concerning work in order
Uh,
to
it was,
get
yeah.
something. Okay, because you've been passed over a few times when you shouldn't have been, but you didn't
Mhm.
speak up and say, I want. Um, so she's very proud of you for getting some an achievement that you should have gotten, or recognition is a better word than achievement. She is with you. You're doing a speaking engagement. She's going to be with you. You get a little anxious. I gotta put this person on mute. Uh, okay. You can get a little anxious or OCD whenever you're preparing for a talk. Do you understand that? Okay. Because even though I'm telling you, I've witnessed you speaking, and I think you're fantastic, she's saying now she gets anxious and OCD, and she worries if she's going to say the right thing or she's going to forget, blah, 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 even though you're a seasoned practitioner. So your aunt is saying she's going to be standing right next to you and giving you a kick in the caboose every time you start to falter. Do you understand? And
Yeah.
that's a loving kick in the caboose
Yes,
because
yes,
that's just the
yes.
way she wouldn't have used the word caboose, but that's just the way she expressed herself. It's more like evidence of her personality. She is your number one fan,
Mm.
and things have been worked out between her and you have an uncle on the other side that they were like oil in the
Yes,
water when they were here. So they've
yes.
worked things out now that they're both on the other side. So she just mentions that because she wants you to know that if there is a situation where you cannot work out with somebody here, you still have a second opportunity, and not to fret about it because But either way, everybody gets a second chance on the other work things
Okay. That makes a lot of sense.
out.
That
Okay.
makes perfect sense. Everything. Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome,
you.
sweetheart. Angela, anything you want to add or observations?
Well, my observations are actually that you're surrounded by a lot of angelic energy, especially when you're doing your work. So it's almost like what I'm getting right now is just like a lot of sparkles around you, but I see it where it's more visualizing when you're working with your tarot cards, when you're doing your speaking. Um, and it's almost like you're not really here when you're doing it. You're
Mm,
it's you're doing the work, you're putting out the cards, you're having the conversation, but it's almost like you're allowing your guides to step in and speak for you. And it's very angelic energy. That's what I'm getting from you. I don't see your family members. Winterbrook already has the market on those guys tonight with you. But I'm actually getting the visualization of what happens to you as you are doing your work and moving through your practice, and you're definitely 100% on the right path, doing exactly what you should be
oh,
doing.
thank you.
um,
Thank
there's
you.
no question about that, but it's because you're just even your aura is just, it's emanating a lot of white, which tells me that you're already probably way above your crown chakra already, and you kind of stay in that space. The only other thing that I am getting is that you also need to work on remaining grounded, because sometimes
Okay.
you're not physically in your body, and you forget to bring yourself back down. That's what I have for you.
Thank you so much, Angela.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Thank you. It was great, ladies. Thank you.
You're
I wrote
welcome.
things down.
Yes, so you're doing great, Angela. I threw Angela out there today, and I said,
Yeah,
"Come on,
she
gotta
did.
do some readings because it's alive. It's a different experience than when you do it in class or if you pull someone over." And let me see, Yvonne, you want a quickie?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So, do you see me moving?
Your shoulders. No, she's kidding. I know Yvonne, by the way. Sorry,
You're so funny, Angela.
just kidding.
Actually, I do. I do. I never thought about it till you asked me.
Out of state?
Not unless your grandchildren leave.
For me, that's a hard no. I don't see.
But I do see you moving from the present house for whatever reason.
Okay.
All right. So, but I don't see you going away from those grandkids. I know Yvonne too. Actually, all three of us hope we sit in the same group. And Nancy, you came in, sweetheart. So we're going to close it up soon, but
Thank
I'll
you.
just ask you if you wanted a quick reading. I appreciate you tuning in.
Sure.
Okay. Um, do you want to do it or do you want me?
I'll let you do it first.
Okay.
This is
So
because I really know Nancy. So
yeah.
it's your turn.
She's wearing her incognito hat. Nancy, would you understand a father in spirit or a father figure?
Not sure. I'd have to think about it.
Let me get some more evidence. So I had a gentleman come in and he kind of felt fatherly with him. So I said fatherly or father figure. Could be father-in-law, could be favorite uncle, godfather.
Okay.
All right. And I want to say that this gentleman is he's another one that would talk with his hands. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? And very boom, boom, boom. The life is black and white. There was really no gray areas. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. That was just the way he thought. I would want to put him about 5'9", give or take an inch or two, either way.
Okay.
And towards the end of his life, he had what they call a portly figure.
What does that mean?
A little bit of a gut, but not fat.
Okay.
Portly. And in his younger days, he was quite good looking. When you look at the pictures, black and white and just turning over to color, he was very good looking. And I think he and his wife were kind of like that cartoon, the Lockhorns, but they adored each other. But the way they demonstrated how they were like the Lockhorns. You know that the comics? No. Don't
No. No, I don't know.
your father, this gentleman is not.
My father-in-law has passed.
Okay, would he have? Do you understand all the other evidence, as pertaining to him?
Is there anything else, like towards the end of his life, to let me know that it's him?
Okay, so you shouldn't be focused on one piece of evidence because there's a chance I won't get it or any other media.
There's a specific reason why I'm asking for that.
Yeah, I know. And I'm telling you, you shouldn't do that.
Okay.
Let's look at all the evidence that he did come through with.
Okay.
Does that all add up to describing him?
I don't know what the Lockhorn cartoon is.
So we'll take the Lockhorns out.
Okay.
What the Lockhorn, they just kind of, they kvetch.
Okay.
But we'll remove the Lockhorns because you don't understand that reference. But everything else that I've come through, with the first exception of being a father, you said, no, but I like father figures worked okay. Everything else fits the father-in-law.
I'm not sure. I'd be shocked if my father-in-law would want to be the one to come in. So I'm not sure.
Let's go through the evidence again. About 5'9", give or take an inch or so. A little bit of a bulge, portly is what they call it.
Okay.
There's black and white, no gray. So this is what you do. And then you don't do this. That's just, it was very, that was his look on life. It was black and white, no gray. He could be demonstrative with his hands when he was trying to make a point, or he'd be moving his hands around. So we got 4 or 5 pieces so far. I want to say there's a connection to Queens or Brooklyn, that area.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. It's not
Okay.
it's not I don't think it's my father-in-law.
But do you recognize who it is with all the evidence?
Probably, yes.
Okay. You're tough for the end of the night.
Sorry. I'm sorry to pop on sooner. I forgot you guys were doing this.
It's
I wanted to come say hello.
No, it's okay, sweetheart. So I have this gentleman coming through, and he's starting to laugh now. And he said, yeah, you always were very, it had to be correct, A-type. Would you understand that? It wasn't good, smudging it wasn't good enough. It had to be 90 degrees for the angle if you were cutting something.
Okay.
You're very precise. That's the word I'm looking for.
Okay.
Okay. So what he's suggesting is he wants you to kick back a little bit more. And trying to think of a way to explain. Even play hooky from your responsibilities for a week. Okay, just to kind of spark a new part of you, because you always do the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
You always get your responsibilities done before you allow yourself to, relax. Eat dessert before you eat, just to do it for live on the wild side, is what he's saying. Because it may open up another part of your personality that's been a little bit quieted. Do you understand what I'm trying to convey?
Yes. Hmm.
All right. So live on the wild side. No one's going to get hurt if you take a week off and you eat dessert before dinner and you don't do your responsibilities and you don't put the dishes in the dishwasher and you just do what you want to do, read the paper all day, take a nap at 2 in the afternoon. Just try it and then go back to life, because you may find that you have some moments of awareness bubbling through when you're not so focused in making sure everything is compartmentalized and taken care of.
Got
Okay.
it.
So I want to leave his love, his giggles, because he's kind of laughing, trying to see if you'll do it, and his sage wisdom. He wants me to acknowledge he's got sage wisdom.
Mm.
And thanks for coming in. So.
Thank you.
I'm so sorry, Eileen. Eileen did try to tune in with us today. By the way, please ignore the little hacker that came in. I'll delete their message after I was trying to delete it on my iPhone. Thank you, Angela, for extending yourself, trying to do messages.
Oh, no worries.
You
No
did
worries.
great.
I did get a couple things for Nancy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
You did?
a little bit.
Do tell, my friend. Do tell.
So what I'm hearing for you is apparently you're taking on other folks' stuff. You shouldn't be taking on other folks' stuff. That's what I'm hearing is the word folks. So and I'm not actually getting a gentleman. So Winterbrook got in touch with a gentleman. I'm hearing this from a woman, and she is not grandmother. I'm getting older than a grandmother. So this individual is stepping in that it's definitely a family member, but it's a family member you haven't met, if that makes
Wow.
sense. And that particular family member said that you need to stop taking on other people's stuff because you're taking on the stuff of strangers. So it's not even anyone that you know. So it's not like your day-to-day workspace that you're taking on. It's not like taking on somebody else's paperwork. You're literally watching things on television, or you're reading things in a newspaper. And I don't even know who reads a newspaper anymore, but that's what they're showing me. So I guess that's where era they were in, like older newspaper. But they said whatever it is that you're reading or you're exposing yourself to, you're taking on the emotions and you're carrying it with you and you're actually fixating on it. So they're saying you need to stop taking on other folks. The word I'm hearing, folks, stuff. The other thing is that they are very happy that you are physically healed. However, you need to start working on emotionally healing. And now this is funny because now they're kind of giggling. They said, and you also need to start thinking about what you're going to do when there's no kids in the house. Right now, everything is kids. And they said, you need to, it's almost time. You need to start thinking about what you're going to do. Just trying to see if there was anything else. Yeah, it's really about making time for yourself, and that you actually have put a bit of your journey on hold. But what I'm getting is that you're putting it on hold because you've got things in your mind, you have things to do that have to be done first. So I'm getting this vision of the hand. You feel like you need to get all of this done, but whatever journey you were on or whatever path you were on, say maybe it was maybe 3 months ago, or things you thought about doing 6 months ago, you put it on hold because this seems to be like a lot that you have on your plate right now. And you're really honed in on that. So give yourself a little grace. But this is definitely not the generation before. This is way before that. This is definitely not someone that you've met yet, but they enjoy watching you and they find that you're very resilient. And it seems like what they're showing me is that they went through some of what you went through physically the same. But they didn't survive that. So that's why they're so impressed how you've completely healed physically is what they're saying. So
Interesting.
I don't know if any of that makes any sense to you, but sometimes I feel like I'm being yelled at, so I have to blurt it all out.
Thank you.
I'm smiling. Does any of that resonate with you?
The putting the everything on hold and that should have ended. I am on hold.
Now, do
Take a
you
week off. They said take a week
Yeah,
off.
see, and
Well,
she
you know
told
what
me
the
to take a
funny
week
thing
off.
is? I'm a teacher. So guess what next week is? February break.
Oh,
So
I
take
have
a
a
week
week
off
off.
from
My
your
kids will be
home.
gone for part of it.
Tell the kids they got to clean up after themselves.
They
You're
won't
off.
be here. So
Oh,
when you're
good.
sitting here saying that I can read the newspaper or take a nap at 2 o'clock, from Saturday to Monday, I can do anything. There are no kids here.
Oh,
And then it's
wow.
just, so it can, and it's funny
Wow.
because prior to this call, I was thinking how on Saturday, my daughter's leaving at 4:45 in the morning. I have all day to do absolutely nothing.
That's
Or whatever
amazing.
way I want to make the day go.
That's amazing.
And
Awesome.
Sunday, I'm coming to you, Angela.
Yay!
Already signed up.
Awesome.
I'll come to your special spot and squeeze on you.
All right. So we're going to wrap it up. And thanks again, everyone. Thank you, Angela. For those
Thank
of you considering getting involved with Reiki, please do. If you are local to Northport and you want to join our class on the 25th for level 1, we'd love to have you. Alexandra, I know you live in a different state, but there's definitely Reiki practitioners near you. Definitely consider doing it because it will help your unfoldment of your other abilities. Plus, it gives you a healing modality to work with besides spiritual healing, another tool for the tool belt. And I love you lots. So nice.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank
so
you.
much.
Good to
Good
see
night.
you.
Thank
See you
sweetheart.
Sunday.
Thank you.
Yes.
Bye.
Where is the mouse?